Hello friends and potential friends. Well, let's see, today is Sunday, June 6, 2021. And as you can see, I've started planting a few seeds in the lab. Planted 12 more Great Northern beans, just so I can fill in some spaces out there where I had planted the beans along the trellis. And then this other 12 back here, these are asparagus. I decided I am going to start an asparagus bed, and like most of the things that I grow, I planted some seeds. And it looks like there may already be one popping up. That's pretty amazing. I just planted those yesterday. I have to keep a close eye on that. Can you see that? There, I think you can see it. Little tiny thing. Could be a weed. We shall see. I'll keep an eye on it. Still have my catnip in here. Still trying to collect seeds from it. It's been dropping flowers and seeds all over the place. And I've still got those 6 rosemary cuttings. They've been in here 2 or 3 weeks now, so they should. None of them have died off, so they should have some pretty good roots established. I'll be putting those out in the bed with the rest of the rosemary before long. The main reason I came in here is the Praxis Cherry. And that's because I have some harvesting to do. There's my first Praxxus Cherry of the year. And not only that, but up here is my second. They're not very big, and I'll be using those mostly to get seeds out of. There are a few more in there that are turning. Oops, and I see one on the ground down here, so might as well take that one in too. And there's still some more green ones back there. I'm continuing to pollinate as it puts on more flowers, so I'm going to be collecting seeds from those guys. Instead of my usual whirlwind tour, let's just walk around and see what the tomatoes are looking like. I'll just concentrate on them. There's been other changes in the garden, but that's the biggest change I want to take a look at is some ripe cherry tomatoes. Let's go check out the rest of the tomatoes. You want to be a YouTube star. Okay. Okay. There you go, licorice. No, no biting. You know better than that. Okay. Okay, first off outside, these are the garden peach tomatoes. As you can see, I do have some tomatoes popping up on them. These ones are placed so that they're just now starting to pick up some morning sunlight. It's about 10 o'clock, 10:30. But those ones are producing some pretty good tomatoes. I think I got a good spot for them, though I must admit they still wilt in the afternoons. Over here in the shadows we have the Pilsner tomatoes. Growing good and tall. They have put out a few blossoms here and there, but so far I haven't seen any fruit being produced. Also looks like the leaf miners are getting to them a little bit. I probably still need to move those farther out into the sunlight, see if I can get them to produce. But if I get them out too far, then the UV is liable to kill them. I do have trouble with some of the others that are getting more sunlight. Every afternoon the ultraviolet reading goes up between 8 and 10, and tomatoes just can't handle that. But for now I'm keeping them alive at the very least, just hoping I get a few tomatoes off of them. Yeah, back here, these are the black beauties. They're growing pretty good. They get quite a bit more sunlight than the Pilsner do. In fact, they wilt every afternoon. And I do have 1 or 2 fruits on them. I did have a couple more early on when I was having issues with my watering schedule. Developed a little bit of blossom end rot on a couple of the earlier tomatoes that came on here. So I pulled them off, but it's still producing more and I'm not seeing any more blossom end rot. Of course, if the rains don't come pretty soon, I won't have any water to put on them, and that's going to be a whole nother story. But for now, they're doing okay, and I hope to get at least a couple of tomatoes off of them. And hiding back here in the jungle, these are the Cherokee Green tomatoes, and quite seriously, they are taller than I am, and I'm not a short feller. I'm not used to things being taller than me. Again, back here in the shade, they've tried to put on blossoms a few times, but they haven't really produced any fruit. So again, I need to find a better balance of sun and shade for them. I'm going to get some fruit out of them. And also back in a shady corner, these are the white tomatoes. And just like the story on the black beauties and the Cherokee Greens, right now these are getting a little bit, not the black beauties, the Pilsarvessis. Yeah, Pilsarvessis, Cherokee Greens, and now the white tomatoes. They're still getting too much shade, not enough sun. They're not really producing any flowers. That could be because of not enough sun. Could also be because it's just plain too hot for them. But in any case, so far I'm not seeing any flowers from these. And I'll have to try moving them around somewhere, see if I can find a better position for them. And finally, to finish off the tomato tour on a positive note, these are my Homestead Tomatoes. This guy down here is one of the suckers I planted a couple of weeks ago. I've moved it out front here, and it's got blossoms all over it. It seems to like the sun. And these plants out here get about at least 8 hours of direct sunlight a day. And they're in the ultraviolet, but they're still producing tomatoes. The ones in a green stalk, yeah, they're fighting it out with the morning glory. I'm still not sure who's going to win. The mint kind of took a back seat to the tomatoes lately in that battle. Though I must admit, I'd sure like to know how that mint got from the very bottom tier up to the very top one without taking over any of the others in between. But anyway, we do have tomatoes growing on this one. Slight touch of blossom end rot there, but that was probably there from that first bout I had. And there's 5 or 6 more over here on this side that are still looking good. So those ones basically are pretty much thriving in our hot, sunny, humid Florida climate. That is definitely a positive. Oh, and incidentally, for anybody that hung out this long, the Tower of Taters is starting to show signs of dying back. So it's not going to be too long before we start on another treasure hunt, and I know I'm not the only one looking forward to that. So with that in mind, I'll see you on the next video.